Well, we were all really on pins and needles because it was in the afternoon, and my husband was fiddling around. He liked working with his hands, and he was building on something. And I think we had the television on, and the news broke, and they were saying they didn't expect it to go beyond Jefferson. Hopefully, the water would not go beyond Jefferson.
And then all of a sudden, we saw water coming down our street.
It was over an hour, but for 300 million gallons of water, it was just unbelievable. And watching houses, fill and burst like they were matchboxes.
It was a day of tragedy, but also a day where the true spirit and strength of Angelenos came forward. You've heard that a newly minted councilman by the name of Tom Bradley led an incredible disaster response, and we shall never, ever forget him. KTLA was the first on the scene, broadcasting aerial coverage for the first time, and thereby informing thousands of Angelenos of the state of the events. Residents, families, and communities came together, literally wading through the water and the mud, and yet they resolved that they would rebuild, and rebuild they did. And then it was Supervisor Kenneth Hahn. He came up with a vision to turn a site of devastation into an oasis of hope. And by 1983, he opened what we now know to be this beautiful park that we all enjoy today. Give all those leaders a big round of applause for what they did to make this a reality.
Well, we were living on Sanchez Drive, and we were my 3 kids, and then my cousin's 3 kids. We had just moved in, I think in October, somewhere, and they were playing in the yard, and then a fireman came up our stairs and said, "You need to leave now, right now." So we took cookies and cakes and whatever the kids needed. Didn't take any important papers. So we did that and took the kids to their house on the other, further away.
My dad came home and he told my mom that a water main or something broke because there's a lot of water at La Brea and Rodeo. Yeah, we called it Rodeo then. I guess they don't call it that. It's Rodeo now, but we called it Rodeo. back in that era. Then this is about the time when they said that there was a crack in the dam. My mom, who was an architect, by the way, she told my dad, "Hey, that's an earthen dam. We ought to get out of here." And so they grabbed a few things. My brother was 6 weeks old at the time, and he was taking his nap. My mom because she told us this several times years later, because some of the stuff I don't remember, but there's some stuff I vividly remember. And then she put our canary in his cage. He put him upstairs so he would have a chance. We're lucky that our apartment was north facing, and we had we were ended up being shielded from much of the major damage. We did have water damage on the first floor, but compared to a lot of other people, it was relatively minor.
Remember talking with Clete Roberts and the cops telling us to get out and get down the hill as we went down Cloverdale or Cloverfield, I can't remember the name of the street. Water was, coming through, but nothing dramatic, and we got over to La Brea, and we couldn't cross because the overflow water they were releasing down La Brea was so forceful and so wide. And my mother was across the street yelling at us to get across the street. And my friend and I, a name I can't remember, decided we would head up La Brea and go with the flow of water to try and get across the street, because otherwise you'd get knocked down and washed away in 2 seconds, because it was probably 2-3 feet deep, 6-8 feet wide from the overflow, and I don't know, 20-mile-an-hour speed coming down the street. And we were able to do that, crossed over La Brea, went to, probably got a half a mile up the road and heard a loud noise and just kept pedaling all the way home to find out that what we heard was the dam finally giving way.
It was rather devastating. It was 1963. The president had been assassinated on November the 22nd, and then on December the 14th, my little world of Baldwin Hills had a major flood.
Well, my husband and my 2 daughters and I were to go over and visit my parents the next day, which was a Sunday, for dinner. And I made brownies because my dad loved brownies. And while I was making them, my husband called me in and he said, "There's something on TV I think you should look at." And I looked, and then I ran in and tried to call my parents on the phone. Of course, it was just nothing but a busy signal. And that's how I learned about it. They didn't find my dad for 2 days. And my husband went to identify him. I wear this today, as wilted as it is, because my dad always wore a rosebud or a carnation in his lapel when he went to work.
Our story is that 50 years ago today, we met here at the dam disaster. I was working at my dad's store down on Manchester in Vermont, and I heard on the radio that the dam was bursting, and at the time I was going to Art Center and I was majoring in photography. And so I grabbed my cameras and I came up here wanting to take some pictures of the dam. And you can tell your half.
I was building an apartment house in Inglewood, and I heard about the dam breaking or almost breaking on television or else on the radio or something like that. So I hopped in my car and I came up here to see the event, and I didn't quite make it because people were coming back. And they said, "Well, it's happened, it's all over." And I saw her coming back with a group, and she was carrying cameras and lugging stuff.
I was lugging a 4x5 camera and a huge tripod, and I got as far as someone's backyard, and I was going to climb over their fence, and they wouldn't let me climb over their fence, and then they said, "You're too late, the dam has burst." So I turned around and started walking back, and he started talking to me, and now we've been married 49 years, and it'll be 50 years next September. So we had to come because this is
where we met.
This
50
is where
years
we
ago.
met.
This is the first time back, and it's pretty amazing to see, be sitting in the hole where the dam was. And we just drove in. Like I said, I haven't been back here since then. So to come up the street off La Cienega and see the lake and all these other things and what it has developed into, and not being built, upon with houses or condos or something is wonderful. It's kind of a tribute to, what occurred.
Well, I think it's been great, and it has been great, and it's given, especially parents with children, an opportunity to take them fishing. I took my grandson fishing in that lake, and and so people with children appreciated the fact that we have the park here.
This is life, because you're choosing your home, you're protecting it, and you know what you want to do, and you have a whole community behind us. And we had just a wonderful time there. Just a wonderful time.
It's always been, since it's been renovated and the park been here, a nice place to come and bring your family.